It's 4:30, we'll call the meeting to order. This is going to be persons wishing to address the library board, and I'm going to read a statement.
Did everybody who wants to speak sign?
Should I read this or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, community members wishing to address the library board must sign the community participation sign-in form prior to the meeting. When addressing the board, please state your name, address, and topic you wish to address. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes to speak after their introduction. Wisconsin State Statute 19.8 does not allow this to be an opportunity for dialogue between the board and public. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees in public for the purpose of conducting the Waupun Public Library's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. So the first speaker we have is signed up as Randy VandeZande.
Hi, my name is Randy VandeZande, 701 West Lincoln, Waupun, Wisconsin. I am District 26 Dodge County Supervisor, and I got an email from a constituent that was concerned about the library policies regarding staff displays, particularly in the month of June last year. I was unaware, basically, of this situation, so I went back and looked at your last library video and got a little more informed on it. I just want to read you just like one paragraph of what this constituent said. She said, public libraries should provide resources for everyone without pushing specific agendas. By featuring these displays, the library appears to be taking a stance that does not reflect the values of all taxpayers who fund it. We believe that public institutions should not be used to advocate for any political or social movement, and we respectfully ask the county board to ensure that the Waupun Public Library upholds a standard of neutrality. So, unlike Fond du Lac County, Dodge County does not have a seat in this library board because we don't get 1/6 of Waupun's funding. So, I guess I'm basically just here to learn what your staff policies are going to be for displays. I was talking with people, and a couple different people told me that there was displays upstairs called Love is Love, but then they also said there was displays downstairs for 10 most banned books, which are almost all like explicit. And I'm not for censorship. I don't think most people are for censorship, but I think that we could have to keep those adult books upstairs and not down in the kids' area. So I don't know if there's some sort of staff policy. I was talking with Bret earlier, and he said he does not go over the displays and what materials are going to be put on them. I think there should be some sort of oversight of what's going to be on displays. And public display policy. If there's not a staff policy, I don't think there should be a public display policy, which there is. It says of interest and so forth. So I guess the basic concern I have is I don't, and most people I think in Waupun have, is not to censor anything, but don't put stuff like that downstairs in the kids' area. That's all I got, thanks.
Perfect timing, Randy. That's 3 minutes.
Okay. Dylan Stein is the next speaker.
Good afternoon, thank you. Got a couple of notes because my memory's good, it's just really short. I'm on the register at 814 Summer Avenue in Waupun. Again, this is kind of pursuant to the conversation that we had at last month's meeting. I don't want to belabor any of the points made. I'll make the same statement. I'm not for censorship, and I won't qualify it with a but. I believe that there's a competence in the library and in the library staff to decide what could be shown here. That said, after the meeting, I went through, because I'm kind of a history buff, kind of a specific eras in history buff. And so there's a lot of places that I have gleaned over in the last, several thousand years of recorded history. So I went looking specifically for any examples where we could find that banning any kind of reading material has been good for society, or has been done by the good guys. And nada. There's nothing. I can't find anything in history where anyone will cite and say, oh yeah, these things were banned and society is better for it. So, leaving with the notion that all voices in our community should be represented. First floor, second floor doesn't really make a whole lot of difference to me. Personally, this is me speaking personally. I'll find it if I'm looking for it. Kids will find it if they're looking for it too. So if they're looking for it, it's not because they first heard about it here. Now, our Constitution guarantees us freedom of expression. It does not guarantee us freedom from expression. That's a privilege parents have over their children, to monitor their content and have some kind of censorship within their family, within their home, and that is entirely appropriate. I would suggest, if you're sending your kids to the library, you should come here with them. Because when you're old and they've grown up and left the house, those are times that you are going to cherish, whether you realize it at the moment or not. But you are going to miss that time once it's passed. So please, visit the library with your kids. It is good family time, and you have some control over what they're taking in. That being said, there's a middle ground in here. I'm not going to go into what Mark is, but there are ways for the library systems to say, you can't have this or you can't have that. That you can put age-appropriate content. Mark calls either the the restriction on access note or the 521 target audience note, that you can say, kids can't get this. So we have a solution without the drama.
Thank you. Okay, and the last speaker, Jaedon Buchholz.
Yep. My name is Justin Montsma. I live in 300 East Spring Street in Waupun here. I've been resident my entire life. I would like to show my support for changes to be made to this library's policies regarding the displaying and distribution of LGBTQ materials to children. First, I'm asking that the board have clear guidelines for the library staff in place that would protect children from purposefully displayed materials that are inappropriate, including all LGBTQ books. I'm asking the library staff to remove all explicit books and materials from any shelf where minors can access them with no supervision, especially those books that have inappropriate images. The library board and the library staff have an obligation to protect the children of this community. You have a moral duty to keep minors away from material that is inappropriate and sexually explicit. Starting at the young age of 5, children can freely check out any book that they can get their hands on. And by that point, it's already too late, as they can just look and read the book in the library and never have to check it out. Movies have ratings, and children are prevented from borrowing an R-rated film. At least that's my assumption. Books, unfortunately, do not have a rating system. This then requires you, the board, and staff to be mindful of which books are placed on the shelves and which books are displayed. The library staff already exercise this ability to pick and choose which materials get purchased and placed in this building. And the staff already exercise the ability to pull materials for any reason they see fit, some of which end up on that blue cart outside of this room. Keep this in mind: if you are willing and purposefully putting sexually explicit materials in the hands of children, you are responsible for grooming children into a lifestyle that God abhors. Jesus said in Matthew 18:6, "Whoever causes one of these children who believe in me to sin, It would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned into the depth of the sea. This is not an issue that you can be neutral on. This is not an issue that you get to dodge responsibility on. And last month's supporters is not representative of the values of this community, nor should it be of this board. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you
No,
may.
you can't do that.
No.
To clarify?
We can't interact.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, of course, I am sorry. Thank you, guys.
Can I also add my name to speaking? My name is Heather Van Buren, and I work at the library. I live in Waupun, and there's just a few things that I wanted to, because I can respond to things that were said as a member of the community. First off, the display of the banned books is always the most recent information that we are provided. And let me tell you, they are not all adult books that were down here that are on the top 10 banned. Number 2 is a juvenile book. Number 4 is a young adult book. Number 5 is a young adult book. Number 7 and 8, young adult books. Number 10, also a young adult book. So more of the materials that, and again, ban and challenge doesn't mean we are trying to ban and challenge them. It doesn't mean that they're banned and challenged nationwide. They're the ones that people find fault with, that they call into question. So I just want to say that first, because that's a direct response to that whole issue. Blue cart. Books that are withdrawn go through a process. It is, haven't been checked out in 5 years, haven't been checked out in 10 years. These materials are not being withdrawn because of personal decisions from the staff. That's why they're there. Also, I just want to speak about censorship and the fact that censorship is not just discluding a book from the collection. It is displays. It is every part of what the public library is. And the public library, whether you want to believe, whatever you want to believe about the community, we are diverse. People may not be able to be vocal. They may not be able to have the religious institution that also backs them, for their decisions. But we are everyone, and we're acting for everyone. And no one person is trying to throw something in your face. They're timely displays. They are materials that we have here available to you, and that's why they're just some responses that I've written down. And also explicitness is interpretive as well, because you aren't going to find a metric that covers everything, which is why there is not a rating system for books as there is for movies.
Could you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
There's not a rating system for books as there are with movies, because it is interpretive what everyone finds as explicit or inappropriate, and for what age.
Thank you.
My name is Jaedon Buchholz, in 2767 Astor Drive. So I don't mean to call Heather out, but it was a point that I was thinking about making in regards to the explicitness of material. The book that I brought in last week was a graphic novel memoir called Genderqueer. It had several scenes that were very sexually explicit, different from a print novel where it's just words, maybe a few images, but this was entirely composed of images. And I do think it is important to clarify that if there is a line for explicitness, that one is far over it. And there's, in my opinion, no argument that that book is not explicit. There is definitely that argument that there's a lot of materials that are not explicit, or can be arguably explicit when it's just words. But when it's pictures as well, that's an important thing to keep in mind. And I do apologize for not bringing it back into me. Actually, someone after the previous meeting did check it out. So I don't have it with me. It was still checked out as of yesterday when I looked at the library website, the catalog. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was the definition of censorship. I don't think that excluding books from a display makes it censorship. I think there's a very big difference between censoring a book, removing something from a collection, making it inaccessible to people, and openly promoting it in a prominent location in the library. Say, you know, the table by the circ desk with the banned books display, or any of the tables right upstairs at the top of the stairs upstairs. So I just wanted to make that something that you guys thought about when writing this policy or deciding on this policy, that there's a difference between censorship and simply not promoting them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, thank you all. Take all your comments into consideration when we review the policies.
Can I just interrupt here?
Yeah.
Did you guys all grab an agenda?
No.
Okay, well, near the bottom, there's a first draft of a library staff display policy. First draft, because I'm going to be telling them to take it home for a month, cross out things they don't like, add things, because this is what the board is for. So if you're here to hear them discuss the first draft of a policy they just saw a few days ago, it's not going to happen. It's pretty much me telling them, well, I'm telling them now, that I want you guys to spend a month on it. And the thing is, when we come back next month, we'll go through everything. This might take a couple months just to, and you have to really figure out what you want that policy to say, how specific regarding staff displays. So
Will be read today or gone over at all?
Well, it's in the packet online.
Oh,
Have you ever seen our stuff online?
I didn't see that,
Oh,
but yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't looked for the.
Go to the City of Waupun website, then bring up it says like agenda and minutes. Click on that, and it shows like the month of March. Shows all of the meetings. Find library board. Click on library board. Then
Agenda packet.
Yeah, you'll have two options. One says minutes, and one says agenda packet. Open up the packet, and that's where it is. Everything is always online. You can see everything we do.
But it's through the City of Waupun, not through the library.
Great, it's on the City of Waupun website, so that way you can go to like their calendar and see when everything is, maybe the whole meetings, all the different boards and committees. So that way, I mean, you guys are welcome to stay and listen to all of our other stuff, but in case you were waiting for that, yeah, I didn't plan on actually reading through it, just telling the library board to take it home and start marking it up, like you're in school. You got a first draft, and so many drafts you end up before it really, because I want this to be, well, a good policy.
So that first draft is online?
Yes, it is. Yep, it's right at the end because it's like here on the agenda, it's right at the end. So it's the very last 2 pages of that package. It's a PDF file. So I mean, most computers, tablets, you can look at your phones. So does that make sense? I just didn't know. I mean, if you guys are all waiting for it to go through, yeah, nothing's going to happen because it's just the first one.
Okay.
So
Before-
brand new policies usually start that way.
Before anyone leaves, I do want to make a clarification. There was a rumor going around that this gender queer book was in the children's area, low, where children can easily access it. And that is false. It is in the adult section, in our graphic novel section upstairs, and not easy to be found. So please don't spread that rumor that we have it in the children's. It was downstairs. Downstairs.
Yes.
It was downstairs, but it
Lieutenant.
wasn't in the children's area. It was pointing towards the circ desk. And when you come into the library, it's not all the children's area when you come into the library.
But it wasn't on
Yes,
the bottom floor.
but
There was
that's not where it's
There was a
housed.
staff person online that said it was not, it was on the second floor.
The LGBTQ display was on the second floor.
No, she said that all the inappropriate stuff was on the second floor on the adult section.
I don't know. No, I didn't. You have to show me what you're talking about. I think
Okay.
there's some confusion going on about what was where.
He knows what I'm talking about, so just talk to Bret, please.
He
Right, well,
told
let's
me that
try to
I
explain.
said that. He just told me that I said that. I didn't.
No, but it was on the first floor.
Not for the
That-
LGBTQ display, which
No,
was
just
the
the
art-
band- just the band books.
Gender queer was on the first floor.
Yes, but it was
yeah.
facing the circ desk.
Facing the search desk, but it was in the general area, the children's area.
Because the children's area is to your left as you walk in. But you walk into the library and there's other things. The new bookshelf for the adults is right there also.
I just think that's something that should.
I'm
be
just
put on
saying,
second floor.
what I'm trying to say is that it's not normally housed in the children's section. That's what I wanna be clear about, is that we don't have it cataloged in the children's section. That's the point I wanted to make.
I agree.
Okay. So anyway, guys, so again, you're welcome to stay and see what happens for the rest of the meeting. Our meetings don't usually go that long. So I'll leave
That
it up to you.
statement should be in the minutes.
Thank you.
Pardon?
That statement should be in the minutes, what you just said.
Thank you.
No old business, on to new business, the library staff display policy.
All right, and as I was saying earlier, this is just a draft policy, and I already have a couple things that I'm thinking, how did I not catch that when I was putting all this together, pulling in display, staff display policies, well, they call them library initiated display policies from across the country, and trying to, put something that is a good starting point, but you guys need to really zero in on, if you want specifics, this is the time to do it. So really look, I hate to give you homework like this, I feel like I'm back in university. But anyway, yes, take it home and print out and mark it up. This is a markup copy. I mean, my gosh, right all over the place for what you want to see. When we come back next month, bring all your, it's going to be under old business, so bring your ideas and we'll see what we can put together. And like I say, might need another month after that too, because I want this to be done right. So, you can talk to people, and again, I'm giving you homework. Part of me thinks that's funny, but I do understand. Yes, it is work on your part. So,
Brett, did you say that there's also a public display policy?
well, we had one. It's over 20 years old. It's called and I was talking to Pam earlier too. It's like we should probably rename it. It's called a display and exhibits policy. The intent was when people bring in, let's say they carve, duck decoys, or they have a snowman display they want to put in their display cases. What it was, it's because I had to take it past the city attorney. More or less, the library's not responsible. If something breaks when you're using our display cases, if somebody steals it, the library's not responsible for that. So, you're bringing your stuff, your personal stuff here at your own risk. So we might just have to rename that the exhibits policy. Just,
More of an exhibit,
or
as opposed to
a
display
collections,
case. Yeah,
because really that's what it's always been. Like everybody collects certain things.
There's not specific content described in that policy. It's more like we could have it removed. The director could have it removed or something, it says in there. It's in the bylaws book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the policy. I think it's like
Policy
page 18
binder.
when I was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was earlier when I was talking to Randy. That's why, because I was looking through because the intent was simply when people bring their personal collections in, whether it's like a Packer yearbooks or the game day things or any old Packer memorabilia. I think of Kyle Clark because he had a whole bunch of old Packer stuff over the years, and he would say, "Well, I'm thinking of bringing some in for the display case at the library." It's like, "Well, you'll have to sign that we're not responsible." Really? It's like, well,
I mean,
what do
they're
you
locked
think?
display cases. They would have to break them in
Yeah.
order to get the stuff
So
out.
I don't
but-
think he ever did. I think
No,
he just didn't want to
I'll have to talk
take
to
them
him.
out of his house. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know if it would make sense to look at both of them together, to compare, contrast,
oh,
make sure that they kind of, the ideas are
Sure.
similar or to the extent they need to be.
I can send that out to the board so you can see that one.
Thank you.
I presume when you drafted this, you looked at other libraries.
Oh,
Policies
lots,
and-
lots,
okay, thank you.
nationwide.
I
A lot of
figured-
libraries don't
figured
even
that.
have one. So,
Yeah, I figured that.
but then American Library Association, they write on their website, they recommend that every public library has an actual, what they call it, a library initiated, so a staff display policy. So,
Thank you.
So there's your homework.
Okay, we need an evaluation committee.